Hi, I'm Robert Kohler, Program Director here at Film Society of Lincoln Center, and I want to give you a background and a sense of the highlights of the 18th edition of Rendez-Vous with French Cinema. You'll see that throughout the lineup we have quite a range that appeals to virtually every imaginable taste, and that's true of the French cinema. It's a cinema that has something for every possible taste and inclination. Some of the really interesting films to keep your attention on during Rendezvous with French Cinema include Helena Klotz's Jean Vigo Prize-winning film The Atomic Age, in which Klotz, who focuses on two dissolute young men over the span of an evening in Paris. They come in from the suburbs and have an adventure. But the adventure that they have becomes a deeply introspective and unpredictable inner journey in which she explores the highways and byways of the mind as well as the streets of Paris, and ends on a most surprising note. It's one of the most exciting independent films from France over the past, I would say, 3 or 4 years. A film at an entirely different pitch, but equally as independent and equally as single-minded in its approach, is Bad Girl by Patrick Millet. Bad Girl is adapted by Justine Levy from her own novel. But what this includes, among other things, is a magnificent performance by the always magnificent Carole Bouquet. And it tells a very complicated and engrossing story of the interplay between a mother and her daughter, both of whom are going through extraordinary life-changing events. A personal highlight for me in the program for Rendezvous with French Cinema is the New York premiere of the great French documentarian Raymond Depardon and his distinctive signature biographical film, self-portrait film, Journal de France. He turns the camera on himself, ponders his career as a photojournalist, as a photographer, and as one of the really great documentary filmmakers who captures life, his love of farm life and the rural life of France. But this film also really focuses on Depardon's photography, which is much less known, especially to audiences outside of France. I would say especially not to miss is one of the best first films that I've seen in the past, I would say, 12 months, by Shalimar Preuss, called My Blue-Eyed Girl. This film comes up on you when you least expect it. You're watching it, it doesn't seem like anything is going on. A teenage girl apparently has a boyfriend who's in prison. She's with her family on a beach vacation, and she's trying to visit her boyfriend in the nearby prison. Nothing much seems to be going on, but then, bit by bit, more and more of the human interaction between the family and terrible tensions begin to develop between the girl and her passions and the family's needs. By the end, I find it a really transformative film. In my introduction to Rendezvous with French Cinema, I had referred to the independent and almost experimental side of French cinema that's being represented in the series. And a supremely good example of that, I think, is Damien Odul's latest film, Rich as the Wolf. What Odul does here is he calls together a video that he shot on his own home video camera over the past 10 years and constructs a story of a wife who has uncovered her missing husband's videotapes. Her husband has inexplicably disappeared, and she's trying to piece together perhaps the clues for his disappearance from the video. This mystery then expands to a contemplation of what in fact we are on Earth here for. It's probably Odul's most daring film to date, and That's saying a lot because he's one of France's most daring filmmakers. We should absolutely mention that one of the special cherries on top of the cake, or gâteau, of Rendezvous with French cinema are the marvelous retrospective films that we're showing, including Jean Renoir's 1951 film In Color, and mostly in English, The River. It's a departure for Renoir from his best-known French masterpieces, such as Rules of the Game and Grand Illusion. Here he is situating a story in India and involves a family of means, and the tensions that develop when one of the daughter's eyes begin to drift to the neighboring property with a handsome young man who arrives on the scene, and the drama develops from there. It's one of Renoir's most beautiful and glorious films, and we're very pleased to be able to show it in a fantastic print. Also in retrospective is Georges Franju's 1962 film Torres de Karu, which we have paired with Claude Miller's new version of Torres de Karu. So you have a fascinating double bill comparison, contrast between two very different interpretations of the same story. It's worth noting that in Franju's film, it stars the great Emmanuel Riva, who all of you doubtless saw on the Oscar show just last week. And here is Emmanuel Riva in the early 60s, fresh off of Hiroshima Mon Amour, and in one of the great roles of her career. It's also worth noting that we'll be having a number of both premieres as well as Q&As with visiting filmmakers and actors. I'll be there for many of them, talking with the directors, filmmakers, and actors, and look forward to seeing you there.